The Iliad by Homer, Book 10. You're listening to Classics Made Clear, classic texts translated with accuracy and accessibility for today's listener. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share these videos with your friends. The other great leaders of the Achaeans lay beside their ships, sleeping through the night, overcome by the soft grip of sleep. But the son of Atreus, Agamemnon, shepherd of the people, could not be held by sweet sleep. Many thoughts turned through his mind as he worried. It was like when the husband of Hera with the beautiful hair flashes lightning, bringing a great rainstorm, or endless hail, or a blizzard when the snow spreads over the plowed fields, or when he drives forward the great edge of destructive war somewhere on earth. In the same way, Agamemnon groaned again and again, deep in his chest, from the bottom of his heart, and his mind trembled inside him. When he looked out across the Trojan plain, he was amazed at the many fires burning before Ilion. He could hear the sound of flutes and pipes and the murmur of the men. But when he looked back toward the ships and the army of the Achaeans, he pulled out handfuls of hair from his head by the roots and looked up to Zeus on high, groaning heavily in his noble heart. Then this plan seemed best to him. First he should go to Nestor, son of Neleus, the wisest among men, to see if together they could come up with a wise plan, one that might turn disaster away from all the Danaans. He stood up and put a tunic around his chest. Under his shining feet he tied his fine sandals. Then he wrapped around himself the tawny hide of a great blazing lion that hung down to his feet, and he took up a spear. In the same way, trembling he seized Menelaus. Sleep did not settle on his eyelids either, because he feared that something might happen to the Argives, who had crossed so much sea for his sake and had come to Troy to wage their bold war. First he covered his broad back with the spotted hide of a leopard. Then he placed the bronze helmet on his head and took up a spear in his strong hand. Then he went to wake his brother, who ruled over all the Argives and was honored by the people almost like a god. He found him beside the stern of his ship, putting his fine armor over his shoulders. When he came up, he was gladly welcomed. Menelaus, strong in the war cry, spoke first. "Why are you arming yourself like this, my brother? Are you trying to send one of our companions to spy on the Trojans? Yet I greatly fear that no man will agree to take on such a task, to go alone through the dark night and watch the enemy warriors. Whoever does it would have to be very bold of heart." Then powerful Agamemnon answered him, "You and I, Menelaus raised by Zeus, now have need of wise and clever counsel, something that might defend and save the Argives and their ships, since the heart of Zeus has turned away from us. He seems to favor the sacrifices of Hector more than ours. For I have never seen or heard of a single man doing so much harm in one day as Hector, beloved of Zeus, has done to the sons of the Achaeans, though he is not truly the son of a god or goddess. The deeds he has done will bring grief to the Argives for a long time to come. He has planned so many disasters against the Achaeans. But go now and quickly run along the ships to call Ajax and Idomeneus. Meanwhile, I will go to noble Nestor and urge him to rise, if he is willing to come to the sacred place of the guards and give them instructions. For the men will listen to him more than anyone else, since his own son commands the guards, along with Meriones, the companion of Idomeneus. To these men above all we entrusted this duty." Then Menelaus, strong in the war cry, answered him, "How exactly do you want me to carry out this order you have given? Should I stay here with them and wait until you return, or should I run after you again once I have properly given the command?" Then Agamemnon, lord of men, spoke to him. "Stay here, so that we do not miss one another as we come and go, since there are many paths through the camp. Call out as you go and order each man to wake up, naming each one by the name of his father and his family line. Give honor to every man. Do not be proud in your heart. Instead, let you and I do the hard work ourselves, since Zeus placed this heavy trouble on us from the time we were born." So he spoke and sent his brother off after giving careful instructions. Then he himself went to seek Nestor, shepherd of the people. He found him beside his shelter and his black ship, lying in a soft bed. His shining armor lay beside him, a shield, 2 spears, and a gleaming helmet. Next to these lay a bright war belt, the one the old man fastened around himself whenever he armed for battle where men die, leading his people. Even in his old age, he refused to give in to the weakness of years. Raising himself up on one elbow and lifting his head, Nestor spoke to the son of Atreus and questioned him. "Who are you, walking alone among the ships and through the army in the dark night when other men are sleeping? Are you looking for one of your mules or searching for one of your companions? Speak, and do not come toward me in silence. What do you need?" Then Agamemnon, lord of men, answered him. "Nestor, son of Neleus, great glory of the Achaeans, you will recognize me as Agamemnon, son of Atreus, the man whom Zeus has burdened with endless labor for as long as breath remains in my chest and strength stays in my knees. That is why I wander like this, since sweet sleep will not settle on my eyes. War and the troubles of the Achaeans weigh on my mind. I am terribly afraid for the Danaans. My heart is not steady within me. I am restless, and my heart pounds so hard it feels as if it will leap from my chest, and my limbs tremble beneath me. But if you are ready for action, since sleep does not come to you either, let us go down to the guards and see whether they may have been overcome by weariness and sleep and fallen asleep, forgetting their duty to keep watch. Our enemies sit close by, and we do not know whether they might be planning to attack us during the night." Then Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, answered him, "Son of Atreus, most glorious king of men, Agamemnon, Zeus of wise counsel will not grant Hector everything he now hopes for. I think he will struggle with even greater troubles if Achilles should ever turn his heart away from his bitter anger. I will certainly go with you, and let us also wake others, the spear-famous son of Tydeus, Odysseus, swift Ajax, and the strong son of Phyleus. But someone should also go and call the others I will mention, the godlike Ajax and the lord Idomeneus, since their ships lie farthest away and are not nearby. Still, though he is dear and worthy of respect, I must blame Menelaus, even if you take offense, and I will not hide my opinion, that he sleeps and has left all this hard work for you alone. He should now be working hard himself, going to all the great leaders and pleading with them. The need that has come upon us is no longer bearable." Then Agamemnon, lord of men, answered him, "Old sir, at other times I myself would urge you to blame him, for often he hangs back and is unwilling to work hard, not because he shrinks from the task or lacks sense, but because he looks to me and waits for me to make the first move. But this time he woke before I did and came to rouse me. I have already sent him to call those men you mentioned. So let us go. We will find them near the gates with the guards, since that is where I ordered them to gather." Then Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, answered him, "In that case none of the Argives will blame him or refuse to obey him whenever he urges them on and gives commands." With that, he put a tunic around his chest. Under his shining feet he tied his fine sandals. Then he fastened around himself a great red cloak, folded double, with thick wool upon it. He took up a strong spear sharpened with bronze and set out along the ships of the bronze-armored Achaeans. First he came to Odysseus, whose wisdom is like that given by Zeus, and Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, woke him from sleep, calling out. The sound of the voice quickly reached his mind, and he came out from his shelter and spoke to them. "Why are you wandering like this among the ships and the army, alone through the immortal night? What great need has come upon you?" Then Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, answered him. "Son of Laertes, descendant of Zeus, resourceful Odysseus, do not be angry. Such heavy trouble has fallen upon the Achaeans. Come with us, so that we may wake another man who should help us plan what you're to do, whether to flee or to fight." He spoke, and resourceful Odysseus went back into his shelter. He put his bright patterned shield over his shoulders, and then went out with them. They went on to the son of Tydeus, Diomedes, and found him lying outside his shelter with his armor. His companions slept around him with their shields under their heads, and their spears stood upright beside them, the spear butts driven into the ground. The bronze tips shone in the distance like lightning from Father Zeus. The hero himself slept with the hide of a field-ranging ox spread beneath him, and under his head lay a shining blanket. Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, stood beside him and woke him, nudging him with his foot and scolding him directly. "Wake up, son of Tydeus! Why do you lie sleeping all night? Do you not hear that the Trojans are sitting close to our ships at the edge of the plain, and only a little ground separates us from them?" So he spoke, and Diomedes sprang quickly up from sleep and spoke to him with winged words. "Old man, you are relentless. You never stop working. Are there not other younger sons of the Achaeans who could go around to each of the kings and wake them? But you, old sir, are tireless." Then Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, answered him. "Yes, dear friend, everything you said is fair. I do indeed have worthy sons, and I have many followers who could go and call the kings. But a great crisis has come upon the Achaeans. The decision now stands on the razor's edge for all of us, whether the Achaeans will live or suffer bitter destruction. So go now and wake swift Ajax and the son of Phyleus. You are younger than I am, if you truly pity me." He spoke, and Diomedes wrapped the hide of a lion around his shoulders, that hung down to his feet, and he took up a spear. Then the hero set out. After waking the others, he brought them along with him. When they came to where the guards were gathered, they did not find the leaders of the watch asleep. Instead, they were all awake and sitting beside their weapons. Just as dogs around sheep in a yard stay alert when they hear a powerful wild beast moving through the forested hills, so that a great noise rises from the men and the dogs, and sleep leaves them, so sweet sleep had left the eyes of these men as they kept their bitter night watch. They constantly turned their gaze toward the plain, listening for the Trojans moving back and forth. The old man was glad when he saw them, and he encouraged them with words. Calling out to them, he spoke winged words. "Keep watch like this, dear children, and do not let sleep overcome you, so that you do not become a joy to your enemies." After saying this, he passed across the ditch, and the kings of the Argives who had been called to the council followed after him. With them went Meriones and the glorious son of Nestor, for the kings themselves had called these men to share in the planning. After crossing the deep-dug trench, they sat down on clear ground where there was a space free from the bodies of the fallen, where mighty Hector had once turned back from killing the Argives when night finally came over the battlefield. There they sat down and began speaking with one another. Among them, Nestor, the Gerenian horseman, began to speak. "My friends, is there any man who trusts enough in his own bold heart to go among the great-spirited Trojans? Perhaps he might catch an enemy who has fallen behind the others, or he might hear some report among the Trojans. What plans they are making among themselves, and whether they intend to stay there beside the ships, or to withdraw back into their city now that they have beaten the Achaeans. If a man could learn all this, and then return safely to us, great and sky-reaching glory would be his among all people, and a fine reward would be given to him. For every prince who commands the ships will give him a black ewe with a lamb beneath her. No gift could compare with that, and he will always have a place at feasts and celebrations." So he spoke, and they all sat in silence. Then Diomedes, strong in the war cry, spoke among them. "Nestor, my heart and my proud spirit urge me to go into the camp of the enemy men, the Trojans who are nearby. But if another man would go with me, it would be warmer and more encouraging. When two men go together, one of them may see ahead what will bring success. But if a man is alone, even if he notices something, still his mind is weaker, and his judgment is less sharp." He spoke, and many were willing to go with Diomedes. The two Ajaxes, companions of Ares, were willing. Meriones was willing. Nestor's son was very willing. The son of Atreus was willing. Menelaus, famous with the spear, and patient Odysseus was also willing to enter the Trojan camp, for the heart inside his chest was always daring. Then Agamemnon, lord of men, spoke to them. "Son of Tydeus, Diomedes, who delights my heart, choose the companion you want, the best of those who are willing, since many are eager. But do not, out of respect in your heart, pass over the better man. The better man, and choose the worse out of modesty, looking at his rank, even if he is more kingly." So he spoke, though he was worried for fair-haired Menelaus. Then Diomedes, strong in the war cry, spoke again among them. "If you truly tell me to choose my own companion, how could I pass over godlike Odysseus? His heart and his bold spirit are eager in every difficult task, and Pallas Athena loves him. If he goes with me, the two of us could even return safely from blazing fire itself, for his mind is unmatched in clever plans." Then long-enduring, brilliant Odysseus answered him, "Son of Tydeus, do not praise me too much, nor blame me. You speak these things among the Argives, who already know them well. But let us go. The night is passing quickly, and dawn is drawing near. The stars have already moved far along their path. 2 parts of the night are gone, and only the 3rd part remains." After speaking, the two of them armed themselves in their fearsome weapons. Thrasymedes, strong in battle, gave the son of Tydeus a 2-edged sword, since he had left his own by the ship. He also gave him a shield, and placed upon his head a helmet made from bull hide, without crest or horn, known as a skull cap, which protects the heads of strong young warriors. Meriones gave Odysseus a bow and a quiver and a sword, and he placed a helmet upon his head as well. It was made of leather, tightly bound inside with many straps. On the outside, the white tusks of a shining boar were set close together on every side with great skill and craftsmanship, and inside the middle was a lining of felt. Long ago, Autolycus had stolen this helmet from Eleon, from the strong house of Amintor, son of Ormenus, after breaking into the well-built dwelling, and Autolycus carried it away, and gave it to Amphidamas of Cythera at Scandea. Amphidamas then gave it to Molos as a gift of guest friendship, and Molos gave it to his son Meriones to wear. Now at this time it rested upon the head of Odysseus. When the two of them had armed themselves in their terrible weapons, they set out and left behind all the princes there. On the right side of their path, Pallas Athena sent them a heron as a sign. Their eyes could not see it in the dark night, but they heard the cry of the bird. Odysseus was glad at the sign and prayed to Athena. "Hear me, daughter of Zeus of the sacred mantle, you who always stand beside me in every hard task, and you never lose sight of me as I move about. Now once again, show me your favor, Athena. Grant that we return in glory to the ships after we accomplish a great deed, one that will trouble the Trojans." Then Diomedes, strong in the war cry, prayed after him. "Hear me also, daughter of Zeus Atritone. Stand beside me now, just as you once stood beside my father, glorious Tydeus, when he went to Thebes as a messenger for the Achaeans. He left the bronze-armored Achaeans beside the river Asopos and carried a peaceful message to the Cadmeans. Yet on his return he planned terrible deeds, with your help, divine goddess, because you stood kindly beside him. So now again, be willing to stand with me and protect me. In return, I will sacrifice to you a broad-browed heifer, 1 year old and unbroken, which no man has yet led under the yoke. I will pour gold over her horns and offer her to you." So they prayed, and Pallas Athena heard them. After praying to the daughter of great Zeus, the two of them went forward like two lions into the dark night, through slaughter, through corpses, through armor and dark blood. Nor did Hector allow the high-hearted Trojans to sleep either. Instead, he gathered together all their best men, those who were leaders of the Trojans and their counselors. Calling them together, he prepared a careful plan and spoke to them. "Who will take on this task and carry it out for a great reward? The payment will be worthy. I will give him a chariot and 2 strong-necked horses, the finest beside the swift ships of the Achaeans, if he dares to go close to the fast ships and learn what is happening there. He must find out whether the swift ships are still guarded as they were before, or whether the Achaeans, beaten by our hands, are now planning to flee and are no longer willing to keep watch through the night, worn down by terrible exhaustion." So he spoke, and all of them fell silent. But there was among the Trojans a man named Dolon, son of Eumedes, the divine herald, a man rich in gold and bronze. He was ugly to look at, but swift on his feet. He was the only son among 5 sisters. This man then spoke before the Trojans and Hector. "Hector, my heart and my bold spirit urge me to go close to the swift ships and find out what is happening there. But come now, raise your scepter and swear to me that you will give me the horses and the bronze-covered chariot that carry the blameless son of Peleus. I will not be a useless spy for you or fall short of your hopes. For I will go straight through their camp until I reach the ship of Agamemnon, where their greatest men must be gathered, discussing whether they should flee or continue fighting." He spoke, and Hector took the staff in his hand and swore to him, "Let Zeus himself be witness now, loud thundering husband of Hera, that no other man among the Trojans shall mount those horses. I swear that they shall be yours alone, and your glory forever." So he spoke and swore an empty oath, and stirred the man onward. Immediately, Dolon slung the curved bow across his shoulders. He put on about him the skin of a grey wolf, set upon his head a cap of marten's hide, took up a sharp spear, and set out from the camp toward the ships. But he was never destined to return again from the ships and bring back his report to Hector. When he had left behind the crowd of horses and men and was eagerly making his way along the road, God-born Odysseus noticed him coming and spoke to Diomedes. "Diomedes, here is a man coming out from the army. I do not know whether he comes as a spy upon our ships or to strip the armor from the dead. But first let us allow him to pass a little way across the plain. Then we will rush out and seize him quickly, and if he outruns us with the speed of his feet, then keep driving him away from the army and toward the ships, pressing him with the spear, so that he cannot escape back toward the city." So they spoke, and stepped aside from the road among the corpses and crouched down. Dolon, foolish in his mind, ran quickly past them. But when he had gone as far from them as the distance that mules drag a plough across a furrow, for mules are better than oxen at pulling the fitted plough through the deep soil, then the two men rushed after him. Hearing the pounding of their feet, he stopped, for in his heart he thought they were companions from among the Trojans, sent by Hector to call him back. But when they were within a spear's cast of him, or even closer, but when he saw that these were enemy men, he drove his knees swiftly to run away, and the two set off at once in pursuit of him, as when two sharp-toothed hounds, skilled in the hunt, chase after a wild beast, a young deer or a hare, pressing it always through the wooded ground, while it runs before them crying out. So the son of Tydeus and Odysseus, sacker of cities, cut him off from his people and kept steadily on his heels. But when he was just about to reach the Achaean sentries as he fled toward the ships, Athene put great strength into Tydeus's son, so that none of the bronze-armored Achaeans might boast of striking the man first, while he himself arrived second. Then powerful Diomedes, rushing with his spear, shouted to him, "Stand still, or I will strike you with my spear. I do not think you will escape sudden destruction from my hand for long." He spoke and hurled the spear, but missed him deliberately. The point of the well-polished spear flew over his right shoulder and stuck fast in the ground. Dolon stopped in terror, trembling, while the sound of his teeth chattering came through his mouth in pale fear. The two men, breathing hard, ran up to him and seized him by the hands. Bursting into tears, he spoke to them. "Take me alive, and I will ransom myself. In my house there is bronze and gold and finely wrought iron. My father would give you abundant ransom if he were to learn that I am alive beside the ships of the Achaeans." Then resourceful Odysseus answered him, "Take courage. Do not let the thought of death trouble your heart. But come now, tell me this clearly, and speak the truth. Why are you going alone toward the ships from the army through the dark night, when other men are sleeping? Is it to strip the armor from some dead man? Was it Hector who sent you to spy out everything beside our hollow ships, or did your own spirit drive you?" Then Dolon answered him, but his limbs were trembling beneath him. "Hector led my mind astray with many delusions. He promised to give me the fine horses of the glorious son of Peleus and the chariot shining with bronze. He ordered me to go through the swift black night, to come close to the enemy men, and learn for him whether the swift ships are guarded as before, or whether you Achaeans, beaten under our hands, are planning flight among yourselves, and are no longer willing to keep watch through the night, worn down by terrible exhaustion." Then resourceful Odysseus smiled and said to him, "Surely it was great gifts your heart longed for, the horses of the son of Aeacus, the warlike Achilles. Those horses are hard for mortal men to master or drive, for anyone except Achilles himself, whose mother was immortal. But come now, tell me this clearly and speak the truth. Where did you leave Hector, shepherd of the people, when you came here?" Where is his war gear laid out, and where are his horses? How are the other Trojans arranged, their guards and their sleeping places? What plans are they making among themselves? Do they intend to stay here, near the ships, or will they withdraw back toward the city now that they have beaten the Achaeans? Then Dolon, son of Eumedes, answered him, Very well, I will tell you all these things. Truthfully, Hector is with the men who give counsel, holding their counsel beside the tomb of noble Ilos, apart from the noise of the army. As for the guards you ask about, hero. There is no separate watch that protects and guards the army. As for the watchfires of the Trojans, those whose duty it is stay awake beside the fires and pass the watch from one to another. But the many allies who have come from far away are sleeping. They leave the Trojans to keep the guard, since their own children and wives are not nearby. Then resourceful Odysseus answered him, How then are these allies sleeping? Are they mixed among the horse-taming Trojans, or apart from them? Tell me, so that I may understand. Then Dolon, son of Eumedes, replied, I will tell you all this truthfully. Closest to the sea are the Carians and the Paeonians with their curved bows, and the Leleges, the Coconians, and the noble Pelasgians. Near Thimbra are stationed the Lycians, the proud Mysians, the horse-taming Phrygians, and the Maeonians who fight from chariots. But why do you ask me all this in such detail? If you truly intend to enter the Trojan camp, there are the Thracians, newly arrived, stationed apart at the far edge. Among them is their king, Rhesos, son of Ionius. His horses are the finest and the largest I have ever seen, whiter than snow, and in speed they run like the wind. His chariot is beautifully adorned with gold and silver, and he has brought with him golden armor, huge and marvelous to look upon. Such armor is not fitting for mortal men to wear, but rather for the immortal gods. But now, take me with you to the swift ships, or bind me here in cruel bonds and leave me, until you have gone and tested whether I have spoken the truth to you or not. Then powerful Diomedes looked at him darkly and said, Do not hope to escape, Dolon, even though you have brought us good news, now that you have fallen into our hands. For if we were to let you go now and set you free, later you would come again to the swift ships of the Achaeans, either to spy on us once more or to fight against us openly. But if you lose your life now beneath my hands, you will never again be a danger to the Argives. So he spoke. Dolon was reaching out with his strong hand to grasp his chin and beg for mercy, but Diomedes struck him across the middle of the neck with his sword, cutting through both tendons. Even as he was speaking, his head fell into the dust. They took from him the marten-hide cap from his head, the wolfskin, the curved bow, and the long spear. Then brilliant Odysseus lifted these spoils high in his hands to Athene the spoiler, and prayed, Hail, goddess, these are yours. To you first of all the immortals on Olympus we will give our thanks, but guide us now once more toward the horses and the sleeping places of the Thracian men. So he spoke. Then he lifted the spoils and set them upon a tamarisk bush. He made a clear marker beside them, piling together reeds and thick branches of tamarisk, so that they would not miss the place when they returned through the swift black night. Then the two men went forward again through the armor and dark blood, and soon they reached the Thracian warriors. They were sleeping, worn down with weariness. Their splendid armor lay beside them on the ground in good order, arranged in 3 rows. Beside each man stood his pair of horses. Rhesos slept in the middle, and beside him were his swift horses, tethered by the reins to the outer rail of the chariot. Odysseus saw him first, and pointed him out to Diomedes. Here is the man, Diomedes, and here are his horses. Here is the man, Diomedes, and here are his horses, the ones Dolon pointed out to us, the man we killed. Come now. Bring forward your great strength. This is no time to stand idle in your armor. Untie the horses, or else kill the men, while I take care of the horses." So he spoke, and grey-eyed Athene breathed strength into Diomedes. He began killing them one after another. Terrible groans rose as they were struck down with the sword, and the ground grew red with blood. As when a lion falls upon a flock without a shepherd, sheep or goats, and leaps upon them with savage purpose, so the son of Tydeus fell upon the Thracian men until he had killed 12 of them. Meanwhile, resourceful Odysseus, as the son of Tydeus struck each man with the sword, would seize the body by the foot from behind and drag it aside. In his mind, he thought of the bright-maned horses, so that they might pass easily through and not be frightened when stepping on corpses, since they were not yet accustomed to such things. But when the son of Tydeus came upon the king, this was the 13th man, he took away the sweetness of life from him as he lay breathing heavily. For a dreadful dream had stood over his head that night, not a dream, but the son of Oeneus himself, sent there by the craft of Athene. Meanwhile, patient Odysseus was untying the strong horses. He gathered them together with the reins and drove them out from the camp, striking them with his bow, since he had not noticed to take in his hands the shining whip from the ornate chariot. Then he whistled to signal brilliant Diomedes. But Diomedes stood there, pondering in his mind what he should do next, whether he should seize the chariot where the splendid armor lay and drag it away by the pole, or lift it up and carry it off, or else take the lives of even more Thracians. While he was turning these things over in his heart, Athene came near and stood beside him, and spoke to brilliant Diomedes. "Think now, son of great-hearted Tydeus, of returning to the hollow ships. Otherwise you may have to flee with men pursuing you, if some other god should rouse the Trojans." So she spoke, and he recognized the voice of the goddess as she spoke. Quickly he mounted the horses, and Odysseus struck them with his bow. They sped away toward the swift ships of the Achaeans, nor did Apollo of the silver bow keep careless watch. He saw Athene following the son of Tydeus, and angered at her, he plunged into the great host of the Trojans. There he roused Hippocoon, a counselor among the Thracians, and the noble cousin of Rhesos. Leaping up from sleep, Hippocoon looked and saw the place empty where the swift horses had stood, and the men gasping in the dreadful slaughter. He groaned aloud, and called his dear companion by name. Then a cry rose up among the Trojans, and a vast uproar as they rushed together in confusion and stared at the terrible deeds these 2 men had done before returning to their hollow ships. But when Odysseus and Diomedes reached the place where they had killed Hector's scout, Odysseus reined in the swift horses. The son of Tydeus leapt down to the ground and placed the bloody spoils into Odysseus's hands, then mounted the horses again. Odysseus lashed the horses on, and they flew willingly toward the hollow ships, for that was where his heart desired to go. Nestor was the first to hear the thunder of their approach, and he spoke. "Friends, leaders and counselors of the Argives, am I mistaken, or am I speaking the truth? My heart urges me to say it. The sound of swift-running horses beats against my ears. If only it were Odysseus and strong Diomedes driving away from the Trojans their single-hoofed horses. Yet terribly I fear in my heart that the bravest of the Argives may have suffered some disaster at the hands of the roaring Trojans." He had not yet finished speaking when the 2 men themselves arrived. They dismounted to the ground, and their companions welcomed them with joy, clasping their hands and greeting them with friendly words. First to question them was the Gerenian horseman Nestor. "Come now, tell me, wise Odysseus, great glory of the Achaeans, how did you win these horses? Did you enter the host of the Trojans, or did some god meet you and give them to you? They shine terribly, like the rays of the sun. For though I often mingle among the Trojans, and I say that I am not one who stays back by the ships, even though I am an old warrior, still I have never seen such horses as these, nor laid eyes upon them. I think some god must have met you and given them to you, for both of you are loved by Zeus who gathers the clouds, and by the grey-eyed daughter of Zeus who bears the aegis, Athene." Then resourceful Odysseus answered him, "Son of Neleus, Nestor, great glory of the Achaeans, surely a god, if he wished, could easily give us horses even better than these, since the gods are far stronger than we are. But these horses you ask about, old sir, are newly come from Thrace. Their lord brave Diomedes killed, and beside him 12 companions, all of them noble men. The 13th man we killed was their scout near the ships, one whom Hector and the proud Trojans had sent out to spy upon our army." So he spoke, and laughing, he drove the single-hoofed horses across the trench. The other Achaeans went with him rejoicing. When they reached the well-built shelter of Diomedes, they tied the horses with well-cut reins. They tied them to the horse trough, where the swift horses of Diomedes already stood, eating their sweet grain. And beside the stern of the ship, Odysseus set down the bloody spoils of Dolon, so that he might prepare a sacred offering to Athena. Then the 2 men went down into the sea and washed away the heavy sweat from their legs and necks and thighs. When the waves of the sea had washed the thick sweat from their skin, and their hearts were refreshed, they stepped into the smooth, polished bathtubs and bathed. And after they had bathed and anointed themselves with olive oil, they sat down to dinner. And drawing wine from the mixing bowl, they poured out the sweet wine as a libation to Athena. You're listening to Classics Made Clear, classic texts translated with accuracy and accessibility for today's listener. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share these videos with your friends.